Hello, everybody. My name is Harold Games, and welcome to episode number 7 of my NCAA Basketball Imperialism series. Hope you guys have enjoyed the series so far. If you have not seen the first 6 episodes, make sure you check it out on the playlist on my channel. Quick rundown. We have a lot of land being taken over. It's starting to get a little bit more cleaned up for the land, but we still have a ton of teams to go on this wheel. We have 188 teams left, but that's not fully accurate because probably about 25 of those teams are not supposed to be on here. Because if you guys remember, after episode 3 and episode 4, the wheel, I didn't save the wheel unlike what I did for this episode. So some teams are still on there when they're not supposed to be. So let's get right into this. So our first matchup of today, the attackers will be the Florida International Panthers. Are they on the wheel? Are they on here? Yes, they are. So they have Southern Florida. Also, real quick before we really start getting into this, I want to shout out NattyKash for giving me this inspiration to record this video. He is doing really good on his videos. He hasn't uploaded his part 5 yet. He's only doing 20 minutes an episode. I'm doing an hour, so I'm probably going to finish it a little bit before him. But still, he's the original guy. This is not an original idea by me. Make sure you give him all of his love and support and subscribe. In fact, I'm going to subscribe right now. That way, I support him. Make sure you check out these videos. Just make sure you check out those videos. And his link to his channel will be down in the description on every single one of these videos, because I'm kind of taking similar ideas to what he's doing. But let's see what FIU is attacking. And actually, they can only go 2 directions, northeast or northwest. So you will see where they go. And that's not a way that they can go. Northwest, we'll count that as being USF. So Florida International against USF. Chance for the Bulls to expand their land to South Florida, but also a chance for an upset for FIU. FIU against USF. We are rolling along, and I am loving this series because this series is something. This is an amazing series. I believe it's right here. It's one of my favorite. I'm definitely going to, when I get done with this series, I'm definitely going to do the college football. As the Bulls will expand on their land. FIU did have the lead at one point by 10, but then they kind of faltered. That was a long drought, not scoring, and the Bulls just got back into it and they just ran away with it. Only a 7-point victory, so not necessarily running away with it, but they did win nonetheless. So congratulations to the Bulls on picking up some more land. Unfortunately for FIU, they will be out of the tournament, out of the Imperialism tournament, just like that. And University of South Florida will pick up South Florida. So, congrats to the Bulls. Let's fill in this area. It's not going to be fully accurate, but there we go. And we fill in their logo. So this is basically how you play if you didn't really understand. But if you really don't understand, make sure you check out NattyKash's videos before you really dive into this series, because he is the original guy that thought of this. So make sure you give him a lot of your love and support as well, because he deserves to get that support. But USF, they do expand their land for a majority of South Florida, and FIU is the only team that they have in their way, as FIU will be eliminated from the wheel. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, the Miami Hurricanes, they're not on here, and also Belmont is not on here. I just noticed that. They are not on here either. Next team to go away will be the New Mexico Lobos. I believe this is a new team to play. The Lobos, they have a huge region of land. And we could get a Texas Tech game. If we get Texas Tech here, that could be tied for the biggest amount of land. Let me make sure I'm recording. Sorry, guys. The Lobos, will they go east? They will. They will go east. And because based on our logo, that is going to be Texas Tech. So we're going to have New Mexico Lobos and Texas Tech fighting for probably the biggest landmass. They control the biggest landmass of the series so far. And also another thing, due to some teams not being in the simulator, what we will do is we will gather the team records on another search engine, and whoever had the better record will end up taking over the land, which is not necessarily fair, but it's an alternative. And New Mexico pulls off the upset. Unbelievable. Texas Tech, they only expanded twice, I believe. And New Mexico, they was close. Then Texas Tech kind of took an advantage. It was a 7 to 8 point lead, and then they just faltered multiple times. Lobos pull off the 11-point upset. So this was a huge victory, and this is an upset. I consider this an upset. Lobos get it done. They will end up taking a huge chunk of land, and this is one of the biggest upsets so far of this series. They will not be getting this Denver University land, though. But wow, unbelievable start to episode 7. Already an upset. And that puts them next to Texas or Oklahoma State, which also has a huge chunk of land. And I thought Oklahoma State was going to get a chance to play against Texas Tech. But man, this is a huge upset for the Lobos. And for Texas Tech fans, I apologize, but your run is done. And the Lobos, their run is just beginning. First chance they get, they upset one of the powerhouses in terms of landmass. But this is imperialism. Anything could change. New Mexico could get the draw next, and they could lose. So, gotta assume Texas Tech fans who watch this video are definitely going to be rooting for a team that eliminates the Lobos. The Red Raiders are eliminated. Look at how long it's taking you just get the outline. That's how big this landmass is. And also, all episodes will be unedited, so you'll kind of get to see the tedious work of the fill in with paint. Mainly because I am awful at editing. When I try to edit, it just doesn't work out how I thought it would. So a lot of my videos, like on my channel, they're just unedited. Some of them are streams that I do on Twitch on the Xbox. Mainly because I can't play many hardcore games on my tablet. Besides like point and click indie games from like 7-8 years ago. Walking Dead was like the only exception because that was made in like 2012, the first one, or 2011. In 2012, 2013 was the second season. But man, the Lobos, congratulations. Now we can really bump up the thickness on here and really fill in this land. It's unbelievable for the Lobos. You got to feel for Texas Tech fans. You were so close. You had a good start, and it's gone just like that. Sometimes I will not talk, depending on how tired I am, because you can see it's 10:55 p.m. and I'm doing a lot of this series in one day. This is if you count up for the beginning of the series, I recorded just the first one before midnight. So really the second, all parts have been recorded today. one part or in one day. But I'm trying to get three parts done a day. I ended up releasing 6 today because I love doing this series. I love doing this series. So now, depending on how Northwestern plays tomorrow, we will see if I want to do something, because Northwestern plays tomorrow and I don't want to be depressed. Also, it's getting close to the end of spring break, which I hate to say, but some other games on Xbox will be easy to record, but not again. But yeah, we'll see. But Texas Tech, you are off the list, friends. Again, apologize for you guys, but unfortunately, you are gone. We'll do the next team to play is going to be the Mocs of Chattanooga. Are they in? Does not look like they're in here. It does not look like Chattanooga is in here. We can look just to see what their logo looks like. I spelled Chattanooga wrong. It's just to see where exactly is it compared to other teams. Oh, it's South Tennessee. That's right. But no, I don't see it. Oh, Texas or Tennessee Tech might have gotten their land, but the Mocs are not in here anymore. So got to remove them as well. Next team to go on the map looks like it is Western Illinois, the Leathernex. I don't think. Oh, they are on here. So here's Western Illinois. They have some team. They have a Big Ten team. They have Mizzou. They have St. Louis. They have Bradley. They have a tiny chunk of Chicago State's weird landmass. They technically could play against Iowa State, but what will the arrow decide today for Western Illinois? Slightly northeast. That is going to be the Iowa Hawkeyes. If you're going for the center of the logo, it's kind of like that. It's more north than east, so that is definitely going to be the Iowa Hawkeyes against Western Illinois. Chance for a Big Ten school to expand, but Western Illinois has a chance to attack for some land. Hopefully Western Illinois is on here. And they are. And we'll go to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Here we go. I just saw them. Here we go. Iowa. Court advantage. And also that's another thing. Home court advantage will be turned on for the home team. And Iowa, excuse me. Wow. Iowa barely snuck out the victory, but they did beat the Leatherjacks. It was a really close back and forth game. Western Illinois got a little bit of a lead, then it kind of faltered on that. It's always the long scoring drought. I heard they had twice a long scoring drought, so they were unable to win. So Western Illinois is done after one. Apologies to them. Congrats to Iowa Hawkeyes for picking up some land to start their conquest for imperialism. Like I said, a lot of these teams have not played yet, so both of these two teams were teams that have not played yet. So yeah, but Iowa, they will expand, but the thing with expanding is you're more vulnerable to being attacked by a team nearby. And team nearby could be Mizzou now. So got to be careful if you're the Iowa Hawkeyes to not get too comfortable. We've seen, I'm going to draw on to Bradley. We've seen what can happen. But again, apologies to Western Illinois. I honestly didn't think it was going to be that close of a game. But Iowa Hawkeyes, another Big Ten school, getting some extra land. So we will get rid of Western Illinois, and we will continue to spin. We have, looks like it's Georgia Southern, the Eagles. Let's see, are they on here? They are. They have a big chunk of land. So they cannot go, well, they can go east based on their logo, but they can't go southeast. So let's see where they will be playing. Where they will be attacking directly south, which is going to put them up against Jacksonville University. So Georgia Southern against Jacksonville. This will be an interesting game. Don't know how these two teams are basketball wise. I know football wise, Georgia Southern's pretty good. I don't think Jacksonville is a Division I football team or Division I FBS. They might be FCS. But if they are FBS, and that's my fault, but I've never seen them in an FBS version. I am way off. Jacksonville here, not here we go. Jacksonville University. And Georgia Southern does get the comfortable 22-point win. Was never close. Jacksonville actually has one more time in the simulations, but based off of this simulation, Georgia Southern picks up a dominating victory, and they will expand their land onto parts of Florida. So congrats to Georgia Southern. They begin their quest for imperialism. This is a small region. I hate cutting off part of logos because I don't want to, when I have to move them, it'll look weird. That's another thing. When teams get a big enough expansion, I will, and they start expanding further out, then I will definitely give them a bigger logo. But there you go. Just fill in remainder areas. So congrats to Georgia Southern. Apologies to Jacksonville fans, but Georgia Southern, a convincing victory in their first opportunity to attack, and they are moving on into Florida. So Georgia Southern survives. We got to get rid of Florida or Jacksonville. See if they have Jacksonville on the wheel. No, they just have Jackson State. So next team is going to be the Omaha Mavericks. So Omaha, that team is up here. This little sliver right here next to Nebraska. So we will see where they will have to attack. They'll be going northwest, which that's going to put them up against, I believe this is just South Dakota University. Let me make sure. Dakota, yeah, just not South Dakota State. South Dakota. So yeah. Omaha against South Dakota. Battle of smaller schools. Uh-oh. May not have Omaha on here? Wow. They don't have Omaha. Is it considered Nebraska Omaha? Oh, it is Nebraska Omaha. Okay. And then they are playing against South Dakota, University of South Dakota. Now, if the logo is different than what it is, then I will go based off of records. So I always look for the records to make sure. Yeah, South Dakota, home court advantage for Nebraska Omaha. And Omaha does pick up the win, and it is the correct logos. 24-point victory for Omaha. Pretty convincing, pretty much since halftime. So Omaha will expand into South Dakota a little bit, not too much. Actually, they get a ton of land. Wow. Huge upset here for Omaha. I don't know if it's really an upset, but they end up getting a ton of land. They do expose themselves a lot more, but they get a ton of land to begin their conquest for imperialism. This is really good for them. South Dakota is done after one, like a lot of teams are. Majority of the teams are. So congrats to Omaha for moving on. Apologies to South Dakota fans. Don't know how many of you are going to be watching this video, but if you do, then apologies, but you were unable to win. Yeah, look at how big this land is. But they now have, based off of their logo, they can really only attack south or east now. But I might I might relocate their logo, because that is quite a bit of land they have. And look at this. Pretty good land here for Omaha, Nebraska. I always mess that up. Sometimes when drawing, I always mess up the one of the borders. There we go. There is Omaha. We will end up relocating Omaha's logo. It's gonna be awkward because we're gonna be kind of like taking a chunk out of some land, and let's fill in this. Let's get rid of this and parts of this. Kind of mess up the logo, but it's okay. There we go. And for right here, let's kind of draw on a border for Nebraska. We could probably expand that a little bit. So this is Nebraska's, part of Nebraska's land. We'll have this probably be part of Nebraska's land. And then the rest of this will be Omaha's land, besides part of the whites. So that is a slightly different color than what Creighton has, so we will expand that land. There you go. A little bit tedious, but it'll be fine. There you go. Alrighty. So Omaha, they move on. We got to get rid of South Dakota on the wheel, which I don't think South Dakota is on the wheel, because I believe we only have just a few S's. No, they don't have South Dakota. They just have South Dakota State. They don't have South Dakota. So we will move on to the next team, and that is going to be Kent State, the Golden Flashes. Are they still alive? Does not, or yes, they are. They're right here. I believe that's the Kent State logo. We will double check just to make sure. I'm going to consider that Kent State. Well, hold on. We got to make sure that there's no extra logos. Oh, no. I'm way off. That is my apologies. Kent State is right up here. That is my fault. So they are actually a small region. They will be attacking to the northeast, which I think is just Youngstown State, the Penguins, not the Pirates. The Penguins, let me just make sure. Yeah, Youngstown. So Kent State against Youngstown. Youngstown has a decent chunk of land. Land that they could potentially squander up. So Kent State against Youngstown State. Here we go. Youngstown State, home court advantage for Kent State. And Kent State does pick up the 11-point victory. And again, when you cannot have long scoring droughts if you're Youngstown State. And a 11-point victory for the Golden Flashes, and they will pick up a decent little chunk of land to start off their imperialism run. I should lower that down because that's a little too big. Don't want to cut off the logo. It's an awkward piece of land, but it is land nonetheless that they will pick up from Youngstown State. Part of the Bonnie's logo will go away, but that's okay. Now we can extend this, make it a little bit bigger. There we go. We could. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take Kent State logo. We are going to move it kind of in the center, kind of expand it. That way it's a little bit easier to read, although it's really pixelated, which is kind of funny. We will just cover this back up. So there we go. So Kent State, they move on. Youngstown State, they will be eliminated from Imperialism. And Youngstown State Penguins, last team on the wheel, but you are gone. Next simulation, it's the Monmouth Hawks. We gotta look up where Monmouth is. Hey, I'm assuming they're in the Northeast. Oh yeah, they're in New Jersey. So it's gonna be fun because there's a lot of teams in New Jersey. I see them. They actually have a decent chunk of New Jersey. Not a terrible chunk. So they can't go in the East. They can play against Rutgers. They can go against Temple. They can barely, if they go straight south, and they'll play against the Penn Quakers. This team, which is Ryder, they can go north and cross over the ocean, but just barely. Where will they go, though? They will go southeast, which we're going to make that Penn. We're going to make them play Penn. Penn. We'll make them play Penn. It's going to be odd if Penn, for either team who wins, because the land will be odd. But Monmouth will end up playing this game. Hopefully they're on here. They are. And the Penn Quakers. I've only seen them in a tournament like once. Penn, home court advantage for Monmouth. Who will pick up the win will be an upset. It is a Penn win by 9. So congrats to Penn. They are able to defend their own land. They ran 4 simulations, and again, scoring runs multiple times where Monmouth was held scoreless for a decent amount of time. So Penn will survive and they will advance. Monmouth is eliminated from the tournament just like that. Not gonna lie, would have been a cool shirt to pick up, but it is going to go to Monmouth is going to be eliminated. So congrats to Penn, not Monmouth, for advancing. And Penn's land is going to get slightly bigger, and it's also going to get pretty awkward. And like what I said, we base it off of where the logo's at, so it's not going to be. They're not going to be attacking Rutgers before, unless they could dethrone Temple and this Riders team that's next to them. We're also going to cut off this part of this Monmouth logo. There we go. So Penn advances a little bit weird. They're kind of sandwiching Temple a little bit. But Monmouth is going to get taken off of the wheel. And we continue on. Next team is going to be New Mexico again. So New Mexico, they will get a chance to expand their already massive land that they gathered after defeating Texas Tech. And a win for win. If they can expand south, if they can expand against Northern Arizona, ooh, that could be huge. We will see where they will expand. They will expand directly south, which on the logo is New Mexico State. So they could have an opportunity to take over the entire state of New Mexico. Or New Mexico State could pull off another upset, and we could have a huge switch in land. Again. So New Mexico, Lobos and the New Mexico State. Home court advantage for the Lobos. Can they defend their land? Can they successfully defend their land while attacking? It's a blowout win for the Lobos. So New Mexico State, they are done, one and done. They really had no chance since the beginning of the game. And the Lobos are able to successfully attack and are going to continue to defend their land properly, which looks like we're going to have another color issue, so I'm going to have to draw on the other side of the border. It's not too much. It's a little bit lighter, but I'm still going to make sure this border separates this color as much as I can. That way, there's no issues. Unfortunately for New Mexico State, Cowboys, whatever their team is called, they are done for the tournament. New Mexico will continue to expand, this time south. New Mexico definitely has the most land gathered, I feel like, based off of their victories. It was Alabama or Mississippi State, but which I now think is Alabama, but yeah, New Mexico. They now control the entire state of New Mexico, and they control a big chunk of Texas too. So the Aggies are eliminated. New Mexico survives, but the Aggies are done for the tournament. Next team to get picked will be the Missouri State Bears. I think they've already been eliminated, and they have. So we will remove them. Next team, now. The fight will be the San Diego Toreros, which I don't know if this might be them. We will have to look up what exactly that team is. San Diego Rose. Okay, we're just going to put San Diego. Is this considered San Diego the Toreros? Ignore all this stupid. Oh, that is okay. So that is their logo. They're 111 and 20. Let me see if they are on the map, and they are not. So San Diego, unnecessarily, they will be removed. Next team is going to be the Wolf Pack. Are they still in the tournament? They are. They actually have expanded before. So we will see where they will expand. They could expand to Duke. They have some interesting places where they can expand. So let's take a look at the arrow. Where will the Wolfpack expand based off of their logo? That looks like it's going to be Duke, and it is. So Wolfpack against Duke. This is going to be an interesting game. NC State will have home court advantage. I know they're on here. I need to find it though. Here we go. NC State against Duke. Blue Devils, they will get a chance to expand, or potentially expand. But can NC State kind of dethrone a big powerhouse? And they do not. Duke is able to pick up a victory. It was close all throughout, but Duke just never let that lead go after they took it about this time. Probably like 3 or 4 minutes left in the first half. So Duke will actually get a decent chunk of land, including this little peninsula, this little area of land. North Carolina State will pick up will unfortunately be eliminated, as the Blue Devils will expand their powerhouse further out into Carolina. Awkward border right here. Just filling this in already because this can be filled in. We will do our best to make sure this is filled in. There won't be any confusion. Looks like it's filled in pretty well. There we go. Unfortunately for the Wolfpack, they will be eliminated pretty early. They're not a bad team, just unable to hang with powerhouses. As the Blue Devils will continue their run of imperialism. This is probably one of the teams where I would prefer to just not get any shirts of, because I don't really like Duke at all. There we go. Here's this land being taken over by the Blue Devils. Congratulations to Duke again, but unfortunately, NC State, their run is over. And that's really unfortunate. This is a big blue blood powerhouse that is going to potentially stay until the end because of pretty easy matchups around them, in my opinion. Which I've been exposed before for saying that. And we can expand our logo here. And we will just fill in this area. There we go. So Duke survives, and they continue their expansion, and the Wolfpack are done. So next team to play is going to be a Big Ten team, the Wisconsin Badgers. We finally get another Big Ten team. Oh, please don't be Northwestern. Who will they play against? Northeast. That is going to be this team above them. I don't know exactly who that team is. So we're going to have to... First of all, go to Wisconsin. Is that Green Bay? Might be Green Bay. That's Marquette. I'm going to assume that that's Green Bay because there's no other schools up here. Yeah, I'm going to assume that that's Green Bay. So, oops, that's not what I want. Wisconsin against Green Bay. That's what I'm going to assume what it is. So, it's wrong. When they don't have a logo on the logo map. So, Wisconsin is going to get their first action of the tournament. They will be going up against Green Bay. There we go. Wisconsin also has the home court advantage, so this is going to be interesting. But Green Bay, oh my gosh. Green Bay with the victory. They ran 80 simulations and Wisconsin won 77 times. Wow. The one rarity, and it was a blowout too. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. That is one of the... I know I keep saying one of the biggest upsets, but that might be one of the biggest upsets. Because the amount of land Green Bay has already, that's getting expanded on. Green Bay won, right? Yeah. And I almost said Wisconsin. I almost had Wisconsin. Clicked Wisconsin colors. Man. That's one way to get rid of any red color confusion. That is Green Bay's logo because it checked out on the simulator. I'm worried for who Northwestern's going to have to play next. I'm very worried. Green Bay, they will move on. They will take over Wisconsin's land. That's a Big Ten team gone early. I believe that might be the first Big Ten team gone. And it is pretty disappointing for Wisconsin fans, probably. Watch their team get eliminated that easy. So, there we go. And we got to get rid of Wisconsin. That is a little bit of a powerhouse that gets eliminated in their first opportunity to play. As we are heading back out northeast to Appalachian State. They get another draw. Sorry, not northeast. They're down in Tennessee. They get another draw. They've expanded north and southwest. Where will they expand this time? They will expand further north, which, based off of the logo, that is Virginia Tech. So, Virginia Tech against Appalachian State. Will Appalachian State be able to build upon their land that they've already acquired? Or will Virginia Tech... It's Virginia Tech, right? Yeah, Virginia Tech just come in and swoop up that land that was acquired by Appalachian State. Man, this might be a big game. Virginia Tech. There we go. Can Appalachian State defend their lands. They cannot. They lose it all in an overtime loss, and it's because they cannot score after getting a lead for like the last 2 or 3 minutes. And Virginia Tech, just like that, they come in and they will swoop up all of this land and take control of a good chunk of this northeastern region. I feel bad for Appalachian State fans because I assume that they were not expecting to go out like this. So they lose their land. Man, must suck for them because they did a decent amount of work early in the tournament to expand, and just like that, an overtime loss. That's imperialism, baby. And we're not gonna quite have an orange color fiasco going up right here, but it's almost similar shade. I remember this black border is there for a reason to defend to separate Winthrop's land. That way there's no confusion right there. There we go. There's the outline, so now we just got to expand this and we have to fill it all in. Oh man. Sucks for Appalachian State because they actually had a good run. They eliminated some teams. They got picked quite a bit. I think they got picked every single episode, or not quite every single episode because they would have had a lot more land if they did. But they got picked quite a bit though, because they had to have defended, or they had to taken some land because they expanded twice, I believe. It seems like we've seen their name come up a little bit more than what I thought. But yeah, Virginia Tech, the Hokies, they move on. They expand quite a bit. You're not going to worry about their logo quite yet because they're not that big enough to expand. But Appalachian State are now gone from the tournaments. Next team to play, we have the Delaware State Hornets. This is going to be interesting to try and figure out where this team is. Actually, I think this is Delaware State right here, which I believe is the red. I don't know why there's a white thing in the middle. Let me make sure that's them. Delaware State, that is them. So there's them. We'll see which way they will be expanding. They can't go east because that's the ocean, and they will be going pretty much west, which will put them up against Navy. So Delaware State against Navy, that's going to be an interesting game. Delaware State will get home court advantage. Delaware State against Navy. There we go. Home court advantage for the Hornets. But Navy is able to pick up this win pretty easily. 15-point victory. They never went down. Well, in the beginning they were down, but they never looked back once they got back up. So the midshipmen will, just like that, will expand on their land and will continue their reign of imperialism. Wow, the Hornets will be a one and done. So sorry to the Hornets fans. Don't know how many of you are out there, but I'm assuming you're probably not happy if you're watching this video. And again, we're kind of having like a two splits here for Navy's land. So they have a little split here for this land, and then they have a little split here for this land. You will see if there's any issues with that, which I doubt it, but we don't quite have any color issues with the pen logo, so that's good. Here is new land. We're obviously going to have to get rid of this logo. Do my best not to take away a ton of land. There we go. All right. So Navy expands. Delaware State is out of the tournament. We're continuing on. It's getting easier to read the teams without having to look at it. But TCU, I believe this might be their first matchup that we've seen. We're going back to Texas. And yeah, this is the first time we're seeing the Horned Frogs get some action. Wherever they go, they could win a decent chunk of land. It's either North Texas, Baylor, or this team. Don't know exactly what that team name is, but if they land on it, we will find out. They are going slightly northwest, which from the logo, that is going to be North Texas. So TCU against North Texas. TCU will get home court advantage, which I wonder if they're going to be called TCU or if they're going to have it labeled as Texas Christian on here, which either way, it should be fine. They are TCU going up against North Texas. Where's North Texas at? Here they are. Home court advantage to the Horned Frogs. And the Horned Frogs do win by 8, and they do take over North Texas's hard-earned land. Wasn't really close since probably the second half. So congratulations to TCU. They will move on, and they will take control of a decent chunk of North Texas land that was already claimed by North Texas earlier in the tournament. This is a pretty good chunk of land that TCU is going to take over. Go, and we can just fill it in like so. There we go. Beautiful white colors for TCU. Surprise are white colors. You would think they'd be purple, but they're white and imperialism. There we go. TCU, that's a decent chunk of white land that TCU has. There we go. So Horned Frogs control a decent chunk of Texas. And North Texas will be eliminated, which they are not even on the wheel. So we will expand, and we have Fresno State, the Bulldogs. They will get a chance, I believe, to play their first game of Imperialism. That is their first game of Imperialism. And we separated the border right here from San Diego State. So we will see where the Bulldogs will be attacking. They will be going to the northwest. From the logo, that's probably going to connect them with this team. I don't know. It might be Princeton. But if you go from the center logo, from the center of the logo northwest, that is going to be this orange team. So we got to figure out what that team is. It's Pacific. So Fresno State against Pacific. I don't know if Fresno or if Pacific is on here. I can't remember. Fresno State, though. Here we go. Fresno State against Pacific. They are on here. It's interesting. Fresno State, will they be able to expand on their land? Will they be able to expand? They will. A 17-point victory. It's kind of close, but Fresno State really led the entire way, and they kind of broke free. So As to Fresno State, they will claim a decent chunk of California now. After that victory, make sure I get a good border going on right here. Weird jut out. This is weird how I colored it, which tells you how poor my artistic skills are. Fresno State is getting a nice chunk of land to kick off their run for imperialism. And we're gonna, alright, there we go. Odd little jut out right here. It'll slightly expand. Or we'll slightly make the paint a little bit bigger. And there we go. Fresno State is going to pick up a decent chunk of land. There we go. Fresno State continues on. Pacific is not in this anymore. Congratulations to Fresno State. Pacific, which they aren't, but they are on here. On 172 teams, which actually is a lot less. But next team is the Boise State Broncos. So they did recently expand. Can't remember what episode it was in, but they did expand. And where will the Broncos try and further expand? Southwest from the logo, that is going to be the Nevada Wolfpack. So this is a big opportunity for a huge chunk of land for either way, for either team. Boise State against Nevada. Boise State hoping they lose to Northwestern tomorrow. Nah, that's too far. Nevada, Harold, come on. No, stop. Oh no, okay, it's right in front of me. I already say they don't have Nevada, and we will do one more simulation after this to end the episode. And Boise State handles Nevada pretty easily. It was like the beginning of it was 1 point lead, but then Boise State just took off. Win an 18-point game, and that's a lot of simulations. And Nevada actually won majority of the time, but unfortunately for Nevada, they will not get the simulation on their side for imperialism. So the Broncos will expand into Nevada and California. So that is a good chunk of land that they are picking up after this victory. So Boise State now becomes a big target. So congrats to Boise State. Unfortunately for Nevada, you guys are not. Jeez, my scroll bar is blending in with the colors. Pretty cool. I went from Fresno State straight to Boise State and straight to Nevada. Just like that. This is definitely going to put a target, huge target, on Boise State. Remember that black logo is in there to defend or to separate. What is this team? San Diego State. That's right. San Diego State's land with Fresno State's. But we still have a ton of schools just to get their first action. Once we start getting in the more powerhouse schools getting action. I feel like the land's going to shift a lot more. But down goes Nevada. Boise State will continue their reign. And after I'm done filling this in, we will do one more simulation in this episode, and then we will call it. So like I said, I only want to get about an hour of Imperialism done per episode, so it's not too much on me and not too much on you guys. Because an hour of just a person coloring, talking, and clicking buttons can get boring for some people at times. So that's why I'm only keeping an hour. I would do longer than an hour, but I don't want to get burnt out from the series quickly and not having the energy to finish the series that I really love to finish. I want to finish a series for once. I've finished series in the past, but it hasn't been easy at times. Probably expand it or extend this color. I think Boise State deserves a logo change as well. This is a huge chunk of land for them. Actually, I think they could stay there for now. I don't think they need to expand. I don't think their logo needs to expand that much. Just adjusting that. Okay, and then we got to get rid of Nevada. They should be on here, but they aren't. So Nevada doesn't go off. We'll do one more team. I'm surprised Nevada is not on here. And the Princeton Tigers. I wonder if they're still alive. I have to look up exactly where they're at because I cannot remember if Princeton is still in this. Princeton, Texas. That's not Texas. I'm looking at the wrong thing. So they're southwest of Rutgers. And I believe Princeton is not on the map anymore. Yeah, they're either never existed or they were taken over by a team, which I don't think so. So this is a free removal. So this is the true, unless it's another team that can play. It's Houston. This might be the first action for the Cougars today, or of the tournament, and it is the first action for the Cougars. But they are kind of sandwiched there between. I'm assuming this is Southern Texas. I don't know what this team is, but they're going to play Baylor, STU, or this Cardinal team. So they can only go east, west, or north. So you cannot go south. But they have to respin. Okay, we're going to have to respin again, right? Yeah. Northwest, which that is going to give them Baylor. So Baylor will either get a chance to expand on their land, or Houston could all of a sudden make themselves known after one game. So Houston against Baylor. This was another good game to finish off on. Houston and Baylor. Both teams are in the tournament, but Houston is the number 1 seed, and they are favorites to win it all. And they do win by 20, so Houston will come in just like that, destroy Baylor's hope of winning this tournament, and they will expand in an awkward position, but they will expand to end this episode. I feel bad for this STU team because they're really sandwiched now. Baylor, apologies, but your tournament run is done like that. It's a tough team to face this early, and you didn't get the arrow pointed in your favor. Otherwise, you might have gotten away with it. TC the Horned Frogs. This Texas, the state of Texas is going to get really interesting once more of the wheel. I'm sorry, more teams start playing in Texas. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. You see Houston, they expand quite a lot. Mega paints. There we go. Kind of infringe on Texas's land a little bit, but it's okay. There we go. So Houston will keep their logo there because I want them to get bigger to expand or to fix their logo. But yeah, that is going to do it for episode number 7 of NCAA Basketball Imperialism. We'll zoom in a little bit. That's too much. Kind of recenter the map like this. So we did some work. We have some teams really expanding now. We're getting a lot of decent sized chunks of land owned by teams, not originally, but now from imperialism. But we have so many teams that have to play. Let me get rid of Baylor off of this wheel first before I stop the recording because I feel like I would forget that Baylor's not even in the wheel, which is interesting. I don't understand why they are not on the wheel, but they aren't. Yeah, this is a look at the full map after 7 episodes. Still a ton of work to do. We still have some Illinois schools that have yet to play, like Eastern Illinois, Bradley, Northern Illinois, UIC. Still have small schools to play in that New England and Northeastern region, which is going to be a pain to figure out at first. But we still have Pacific teams that haven't played, like Portland and Portland State, Oregon State, Oregon. So many teams to play that have yet to play. Even Florida schools. Still have some Texas schools that have to play. The Dakotas have to play. Wyoming, Utah State. Utah, I believe, has to play still. Weber State. So many teams have to play. So many Big Ten teams have to play. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys stay safe. Take care. And once again, before I end this video, make sure you check out NattyKash's playthrough. And hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And peace.